So now that Never Flinch is out, how about we rank all of the Holly books? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson and this is a place where I talk to you about all things Stephen King. And in this video, I'm going through my ranking of the Holly Gibney books. And why am I doing that? Well, if you're a regular around here, or if you're a big Stephen King fan, you'll know that Never Flinch has just come out. That's the latest Stephen King book, and it's the latest Stephen King book with Holly Gibney in it. Now you can check out my spoiler-free review of this book elsewhere on this channel. I'll pop the link up there if you want to. But it got me thinking, we're talking about Holly, why not rank all of the Holly books? She is now in 7 different books, 6 novels and 1 novella. So I thought I would go through my ranking of them, and that's what I'm going to do in this very video. So this is going to be a spoiler-free ranking, and, well, just to make it extra fun, it's not even going to be one ranking. I'm going to be doing 2 rankings in this video. So I'm going to go through all the Gibney books, and I'm going to rank it based on my enjoyment of Holly Gibney in those books. And then I'm going to rank them again based on my overall feelings on the books itself as a whole. So not just focusing on Holly. So you're going to get 2 rankings. They'll be spoiler free, and I would love to know your thoughts on the Holly Gibney books. Which is your favourite? Which is your least favourite? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, I know I've literally just mentioned it, but I have reviewed Never Flinch, the brand new one. It's spoiler free. It's fairly lengthy because it's got a bit of a vlog about me reading the book as well, and a fairly detailed review, but spoiler free, I promise. So maybe check that one out before you watch the rest of this video, or go back to it after we're done here and check it out then. So I think that's about it, isn't it? Holly Gibney ranking. Let's fracking go. So before we get into the rankings, thought it might be worth reminding you of the reading order for the Holly Gibney books. Now you can read any of these books as a standalone, they do kind of work, but if you do that and you do it out of order, you will have major plot points revealed, spoiled for you, and you'll lose a lot of the nuance of the character development, particularly Holly. So if you don't want anything spoiled, you need to read them in order, and that order, thankfully, is just publication order. So we've got Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, End of Watch, and those 3 are the Mercedes trilogy, or the Bill Hodges trilogy. Then we get The Outsider, followed by If It Bleeds, the story If It Bleeds, which is in the collection If It Bleeds, which also has The Life of Chuck, which is about to be a new movie, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which has already been a movie, and Rat, which Ben Stiller picked up ages ago and hasn't done anything with. Why am I telling you this? I don't know. If It Bleeds, a novella in there. And then we get to 2023's Holly, which is a standalone novel about Holly. Of course, as the name suggests, and you can check out my spoiler-free review of that from a couple of years ago, before finally bringing us up to speed with Never Flinch. So there's your Holly Gibney reading order, folks. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, on to the rankings. So my first ranking then is the Holly ranking. This is my ranking of these Gibney books based on how much I like or don't like Holly Gibney in those books. So at 7th place, the one I like the least, is End of Watch. Frankly, this one is just peak annoying Holly, just really fracking cringeworthy all the way through. Nah. So 6th, Never Flinch. She's just too perfect in this. Everyone adores her too much. Everyone just has heart eyes emojis whenever they see her or think about her. And it's really fracking annoying, even though Holly has clearly grown and shows much more social functioning and is a more interesting character. But it's just the adoration. I can't deal with it. And the only thing I find less interesting in this book than Holly is the Robinsons. So at 5, Finders Keepers. Now I've said before that this book, potentially the best of the Mercedes trilogy, but is hampered by being part of the Mercedes trilogy. It would be way better with characters that weren't tied to that world. Holly in this book does very little for me, which is a shame because it's actually a really good book. So at 4, If It Bleeds. Now, I really like the development we get of Holly in this, particularly learning more about her relationship with her mother and how difficult that relationship is. And we get a better sense of who Holly Gibney actually is. But the reason it's not higher is that the story itself and the resolution and where we have to see Holly using her skills is just, for me, too much of a rehash of The Outsider for it to deserve to go any higher. So at 3, it's Holly. So this one was a little frustrating, I guess, because I went into this wanting to understand what it was about Holly Gibney that had just hooked Stephen King so much that he keeps coming back to her. And this book didn't answer that question for me. I still don't get why he's so obsessed with her and so interested with her. But I did enjoy learning more about her processes, her politics, her thoughts, and just seeing her develop again as a person in this. And the plot in this one is really good as well. So that combination, when I'm thinking of how much I enjoyed Holly, number 3. I'm as surprised as you are. So number 2, it's The Outsider. So Holly rocks up halfway through this, and she's actually pretty likeable in this book. And it's a really important milestone in the Holly Gibney journey, because she'd been in the Mercedes trilogy. And you could have been forgiven for thinking, well, that's her done and dusted with. For her then to show up in this and be such an integral part of this book. Oh, look, there's an outsider on the spine. Not the spine, the pages. For her to show up in this, that was a clear signal that, okay, we're getting more from Holly Gibney. She is kind of here to stay now. Something about her has really hooked into Stephen King's brain, and we're not getting away from it. And, you know, I'm actually really looking forward, even though it'll be a while, I'm really looking forward to rereading this one, particularly with the view of how I feel about Holly at the end of it. Because I know I love the first half of this book. My memory is always that the second half, when Holly shows up, is a bit meh. But actually thinking about it objectively, she is a pretty solid addition to this. And like I say, it's so important for the cementing of that character being what she's become now, that it's going to be fascinating to reread. But of course, that means at number 1, it's Mr. Mercedes, my favourite experience of Holly Gibney. And I think it does everything we need to get from it, really. We get all of her quirks, we get an idea of her family relationships, we see her developing, we see her taking risks, we see her taking chances, we see her making new friends, building new relationships, growing as a person. And we see her becoming an important character in this story. But she's also just a side character, which is great. So there's my thoughts on ranking those books based on how much I like Holly Gibney. But what do you think? Do let me know in the comments. Okay, before we carry on, just a couple of very quick plugs from me. Everything I want to plug is linked in the description, but those things are my award-winning collection of short stories from 2024, Once More Around the Sun. If you like Stephen King but want it with a British twist, give that a try. Also, my Stephen King trivia book from 2022, loads of quiz questions about Stephen King. Also, my range of Stephen King themed band shirts where I mash up band logos and Stephen King stuff like this Tommy Knockers Metallica battery type thing. This gives you the idea of what I'm on about. Links below. And lastly, if you enjoy what I'm doing on this channel, then consider becoming a member, becoming a constant viewer, getting access to extra content, early access to regular content, bunch of other fun stuff as well. Like I say, all the links are below. And if none of that works for you, hey, thank you for watching. I appreciate that. And if you consider being a subscriber or maybe sharing with a friend, that would also be fantastic. Okay, let's get back on with the show. So now I'm going to rank the Holly Gibney books based on the books overall. Just what I think about them. Not necessarily taking into account Holly as a particular point of reference, but just how much did I enjoy or not enjoy these books. So let's jump in. Number 7. Yeah, it's End of Watch. Just not a very good book. In general, really, pretty unsatisfying conclusion to the trilogy, from my opinion. And the sections in this where we visit Lowtown, not good. So at 6, If It Bleeds. It's my least favourite story in this collection. It's my least favourite of the 4. Like I said earlier, it's kind of too much of a rehash of The Outsider for me. It was just the whole time thinking, well, I've read this story before. And the only thing that really saves it for me is the insight we get into Holly's relationship with her mother and also with her uncle as well. So there you go, and number 6. So number 5, Never Flinch. This book has some great moments, namely the moments without Holly. But it's kind of a frustrating read. It's a frustratingly non-sticky read, and I talk about this in my review. Stephen King books usually stick for me. They usually implant themselves very quickly. I've forgotten a lot of what happened in this already, and it's been just a few days since I finished it. But it is salvaged by a really good, compelling climax and an excellent villain who, I really enjoyed seeing the workings of. So, not great, but not the worst. Okay, at 4, Holly. I think I'd enjoy this story more if it weren't a Holly Gibney book, if it were a new character. But the plot itself, brilliant, excellent premise, and there's enough horror in here and action in here that keeps you flipping those pages. It's undeniably an instantly engaging read. And like I say, it is a page turner. I just think it would be better with a different character. So at 3, The Outsider. Now the first half of The Outsider, as I've already mentioned, is something I like. I would even venture to say that the first half of The Outsider is the best thing on this entire list that I'm ranking. The second half does drag it down a bit, but it's still a pretty satisfying read. And again, it's a page turner. It's clever, it's twisty, it's horrific. It's a very effective thriller. So at 2, Finders Keepers. A quite brilliant book that, as I've already mentioned, is hampered by being part of the Mercedes trilogy. But what this book has to say about fandom, about obsession, about desperation is really, really great. There's a lot of excellent stuff in here. And I really enjoyed it. So of course, again, that means that Mr. Mercedes is number 1. And perhaps, in retrospect, maybe this one was a bit too fracking good. So this was King's first proper attempt at this crime stuff that he then spent over a decade really focusing on. And he nails it from the off. Like, from page 1 to page whatever the last page is, this flies. It's one of his best openings to a book ever. One of his best villains. There's some truly horrific moments. It's got twists. It's a really clever thriller, just like The Outsider, but even better. We have some twisted side plots. We have some compelling side characters who don't overstep the mark, including Holly. And it's just a banging bit of crime writing with lots of horror thrown in. And definitely my favourite on the list. So, Mr. Mercedes, pretty fracking good. But that's my opinion anyway. When it comes to these books in general, the Holly Gibney books, what's your favourite? Let me know. Okay, there we go. A Holly Gibney ranking, done twice, just to be sure. Do let me know what you think of the Holly Gibney books. And of course, don't forget to check out my review of Never Flinch. I know I've plugged it a few times now, but it's there. It's ready for you to watch whenever you're ready to watch it. Talking of watching things, you've just watched a video here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's loads of other stuff for you to explore. Stephen King stuff? Sure. Literally hundreds of videos of that. Do you want book recommendations for authors that aren't Stephen King? Cool. I've got loads of those as well. Nearly 50 now in my book club, which you can check out. And hey, do you want to hear me talk about horror films? Well, I'm doing that now as well. Literally only just started, so not quite as many. But I've gone in on the new Final Destination film. I've done a ranking of all of the Final Destination stuff before that, and there's loads more still to come. And if you're just curious, you can check out my top 10 horror films of all time. That one's a lot of fun too. I'll pop it up there as a link, just so you can find it even easier. Unless you're watching on a platform where those links don't show up, in which case, well, just click around my channel. You'll find it. I'm rambling now. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.